Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. God, it seemed like I haven't said that forever, right? Boy, I miss saying that. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. It kind of just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Elaine Parker, thank you so much for joining us. Fancy, thank you so much for being first. Okay. um, yeah, sorry I wasn't here yesterday, but unfortunately, as you know, from time to time, I keep little Gigi while her family is away, and me and little Gigi have gotten incredibly attached. So much so that sometimes when I drop her off, she begins to cry, and it's just so sad. One time I was on my way home after dropping her off, and they were like, "Would you come and get this dog?" They said she just stayed at the door looking for me to come back. I guess we bonded over bacon. Nothing is a stronger bond between um, K9 and me than bacon. So, anyway, very sweet dog, and I'm going to miss her so much. Um, yeah, we had our little routine. You know what I mean? We had our routine, kind of like driving Miss Daisy, Hulk and Daisy Worthing, that kind of thing. We understood each other. You know what I mean? We understood each other. Anyway, let's see here. There we go. All right. Um, where are we doing here? Yeah, we got some stuff about the visit. I kind of didn't really miss talking about that. I didn't really want to bother with that so much. But I'm going to talk about it a bit. And of course, always Harry and Meghan. Meghan spending the day with the Candy Man. The Candy Man can, cause he mixes it with love and make the world taste good. Who can take the sunshine and sprinkle it with dew? Mixes it mixes it with love and a miracle or two. The Candy Man, the Candy Man, the Candy Man can. The Candy Man can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Oh, I didn't know I still knew that song. The Candy Man takes everything he bakes and mixes it with chocolate kisses. Da 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 da. You can even eat the dishes. Am I the only one who remembers that song? Tell me, okay. If y'all are trying to make me feel old, fine. You're gonna pretend like you don't know that song? Be that way. Y'all know you remember that song, Sammy Davis Jr., the Candy Man. All right. Hey Sandra. Okay. Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Thank you very much. All right. Happy May Day. It is the International Labor Day. Some people call it May Day. But for the US, we celebrate Labor Day later this month, right? Is it the second Monday or something like that? Um, anyway, it's like the unofficial start of summer. Even though, yeah, it's the unofficial start of summer. Unofficial. The um Oh wait, no, Labor Day is in the fall for us. It's Memorial Day coming up for us. Labor Day is in the fall. I always get those two mixed up. All right. Um so yeah, Labor Day is fall. Labor Day is the unofficial end of summer, and Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer. which is why they used to always say it is considered bad taste to wear white between Memorial Day. I'm sorry, after well, let me try this again. It's considered bad taste if you wear white outside of Memorial Day and Labor Day. They say you should only wear it between those two holidays. Of course, we don't follow those things. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. And again, thank you so much for being here. All right. So what is May Day? What is May Day? Well, if you have a little Bolshevik in your blood, then you probably know what Labor Day or May Day is. So, what is May Day? May Day is a celebrated annually on May the 1st. It's also the Old Farmer's Almanac. It is a holiday with a split personality, traditionally observed in two distinct ways. The Spring Festival, an ancient European festival of spring. Traditions include dancing around the maypole, crowning the May Queen, and leaving May baskets filled with flowers or treats on neighbors' doorsteps. Wow, okay. I like that tradition. And then, of course, there is the International Workers' Day, a day dedicated to labor movement commemorating the 1886 Haymarket Affair in Chicago. This is why they always say that Chicago is the birthplace of the modern labor movement because of the Haymarket riots. So, the Haymarket Affair in Chicago, while it is a public holiday in many countries, it is not an official holiday in the United States. I bet you can understand why. They don't want us thinking about how hard we work. In the United Kingdom, a related bank holiday is typically held on the first Monday in May. Are you looking for events or rallies happening near you for May Day? It says, um, you know, you would think, you would think that in Chicago there would be some type of occasion, right, for the recognition of the Haymarket riots, right? Nothing. Nothing at all. They don't want us to think about it. But in, let me see, they've been celebrating May Day since the Middle Ages, um, especially in Germany, Tyrol, wherever that is, Sweden, yeah, Sweden. I do the worst Swedish accent. And Scotland, Scotland. And of course, in the UK, they do something, right? Oh, and other countries too. It seemed like every place but the United States, we don't really do anything. Canada, May Day is celebrated in some parts of provinces of British Columbia, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Ontario. Well, I wonder why we don't. Well, anyway, there's no celebration in the US really. Now, Haymarket riots. Very briefly, just to tell you about that little history. The Haymarket riot, also known as the Haymarket Affair or Massacre, was a violent confrontation between police and labor protesters on May 4th, 1886, in Chicago's Haymarket Square. It began as a peaceful rally in support of 8-hour work day. Do you hear me? 8-hour work day. 1886 in Chicago, Illinois, they were fighting for the 8-hour workday, something I'm sure that many of you have come to know and love. Well, that was one of the things they were fighting for. So it says here, and the protest and killing of several workers by police the previous day at the McCormick Reaper Works. And I think the Reaper, what is the Reaper for? That was a way to process grain, right? I think that's what it was. The Reaper was a way to process grain. Anyway, you all can thank Chicago for the 8-hour workday. You're welcome. On behalf of the people of the city of Chicago, I am going to accept your gratitude. And I will accept it by a PayPal or Cash App. Let me see. What other ways can I accept your gratitude for the 8-hour workday? Does anybody else have any ideas? PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. I don't fool with Zelle. Um, oh, yeah, Super Chat, Super Sticker. And then I'll make sure that the rest of the people of Chicago. I'll make sure the rest of the people of Chicago get what they got coming. I promise you, they're going to get exactly what they got coming. Or my name isn't Fred Thompson. So take a look here. Here's an illustration showing you what the streets of the near west side of Chicago, how it appeared during the Haymarket riots, or as they like to say, the Haymarket affair. You see there? There's a whole line of police and laborers, and it was supposed to be peaceful, but I think someone threw some dynamite. A police officer was killed. You guys didn't know this history, did you? Well, that's what I'm here for. Get you caught up on it. Let me show you one more illustration. Of course, there were no cameras that could take proper photos at nighttime, so setting up a tripod and trying to capture the action of the moment would have been nearly impossible. And there you go. See there? During the rally, as police moved in to disperse the remaining crowd of about 300, an unidentified individual threw a dynamite bomb at the police. The blast and ensuing gunfire killed 7 people and at least 4 civilians wounded, dozens more. Friendly fire, many police casualties were later attributed to police officers accidentally shooting one another in the dark and the chaos. So there was a trial, despite the lack of evidence linking them to the bomb. 8 radical labor activists, mostly German immigrants, were arrested and tried for the conspiracy of murder. And the verdict, all 8 were convicted, 7 were sentenced to death, and 1, Oscar Neebe, received 15 years in prison. Wow. And the execution took place on November the 11th, 1887. Well, you guys, I just want you all to know that those people died so that you could have the 8-hour workday, the 40-hour work week, which, of course, there was also the elimination of child labor and so on and so on and so on. And those people on the streets of Chicago that night in, what was it, 1884 or whatever it was, 1886. They paid for that with blood. So you're welcome. All right. So that's the roots of the Labor Day and not Labor Day, not Memorial Day. I'm sorry, Labor Day, and of course May Day celebration, the International May Day celebration, where as far as labor is concerned, but they've always celebrated. There they are dancing around the maypole. That's another way that, of course, back in Europe, they used to do that to celebrate the start of May. Okay. Dancing around the maypole. Our unity is our strength. May Day, International Workers, 1886 to 1978. See there? So surprising. There's no acknowledgement of that in Chicago whatsoever. So look for the union label. Remember that song? I used to love that song. The Union song. Remember they used to have those commercials? So look for the union label. Again, I am showing my age. Okay, you guys, that's enough history. We're going to get on with it then. So look for the union label when you are buying a shirt, dress, or blouse. Remember somewhere our union sewing, our wages going to feed the kids and run the house. We work hard, but who's complaining? Thanks to the ILG, we're paying our way. So look for the union label so we are able to make it in the USA. I'm surprised you guys don't know that song. You all disappoint me. Everybody knows the union label song. Okay, I don't get out enough. If I did, I wouldn't know stuff like that. Okay. Now, Compartes opens Willy Wonka's esque, a Willy Wonka esque chocolate factory. Visit the chocolatier on La Brea Boulevard to be as happy as a kid in a candy store. Well, this is the guy right here, Jonathan Graham. He is the founder of the Compartes. That's the name of it. So that is who Meghan has partnered with to create those delicious custom chocolates, the ones that are sold through the As Ever website. That is the guy who has founded the company. So, let me see here. Look at those custom chocolates. They can pretty much make anything you need. And of course, they have a lot of like corporate customers for those special occasions. All of that kind of stuff. You know how it is. Weddings, gift bags for your guests or whatever. They do all of that. Compartes chocolates. And they sell them in different places, usually the high-end chocolate stores. So it says here, Jonathan Graham is the owner and creative force who rebranded and revitalized Compartes Chocolatiers into a premier luxury artisanal brand, taking over the family. Oh, he's not the founder, taking over the family business at 15 and later leading it. He is a Forbes under 30 under 30 recipient known for modernizing the historic 1950s Los Angeles brand with bold flavors, artistic design, and collaborations with brands like Gucci and Netflix. My, that sounds interesting. Well, don't forget, as ever, the most important collaboration to date. So, yeah, he's not the founder, but he reinvented the company. But it was founded back in the 1950s. Wow, that is very cool. There's a chocolate factory on the near north side of Chicago. And I kid you not, could you imagine smelling chocolate all over the neighborhood? When the wind is blowing, you can smell the chocolate for miles. This is a daily occurrence, having a chocolate factory in the middle of the city. True story. It's called Blommer's Chocolate. And it's always like, mm, what is that? And then you have to tell people, well, there's actually a chocolate factory about a mile that way. That's how strong it is. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. The La Brea tar pits in that area where his chocolate store is at. Oh, okay. I was wondering about that because you can't really say La Brea without thinking about the tar pits, right? Okay. Yeah, we're trying to not to let people know about that. We'd rather sneak up on them. Oh, that's a good question. Has Megan invested? That's a good question. So, of course, I'm sorry about the really bad photo, but if you look at the bottom, it says Compartes. That is exactly where the Duchess um, got those chocolates from. And those boxes, when you put all four boxes together, it creates that beautiful single image like that. So I saved my boxes and I was thinking about framing them. Yeah, putting them in some kind of a frame. And don't forget, Mother's Day. I guess there's still time. For Mother's Day, Megan has created two new candles as well as the Compartes Mother's Day as ever chocolates. Take a look there on the left. As you can see, when you lift the lid off the box, it says as ever. And then there on the right, I got my candles, but I have not burned them yet. So yeah, I made sure I got one of each. And that'll be my project for the weekend is testing the candles with those beautiful vessels. Yeah, those beautiful vessels. And you can keep them forever. The surface is not, the shiny glazed clay or anything like that. It has a very chalky feeling to it. And so it doesn't like shine at all. It's just kind of like very soft and chalky um, under your fingertips. That is what it feels like. But they are beautiful. And I have yet to put any flowers in them, but I think I'm going to do that. I didn't want to because the what is it, the 519, which is my favorite. Um, I promise you, it still has a pretty strong smell, just like the candle was still inside of it. And I have washed it and scrubbed it real good with baking soda. Yeah, I use baking soda, to get the dark um, kind of soot around the top of it. I wanted to get that out of it. And so, much to my surprise, with all that scrubbing with mild detergent and then using baking soda, it still smells great. So that is so cool. But I guess the vessel is a bit porous, but it certainly does not leak. And so there are four candles now. There is the 084, which is for Meghan's birthday, 1984. And then there is the 519 for their wedding day, May the 19th. And then there is the 604 and the 506 for the children. I hope I got those numbers right. 604 and 506. And you can read the description of how they should smell and everything. And still, 519 is probably going to remain my favorite. Oh, good morning, Deborah. Thank you for joining us. So, Kate Middleton had several normal. I'm trying not to laugh. Kate Middleton had several normal jobs before becoming a royal. Here's what she did. Before she became a princess, Kate worked as a deckhand, waitress, fashion buyer, and good Lord, project manager. Project manager. She who cannot even go out of the country by herself with a staff of people and a favorable press coverage. You mean to tell me she was a project manager? Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. They lie. They lie like a rug. The media is doing the absolute most to manufacture this Saint Kate Middleton persona, and it's actually tragic. This article is pure PR fan fiction that conveniently deletes her deckhand era just to make that 10-year wait look like a whole career. You cannot just pick and choose which parts of the lure to report for the aesthetics. Stop being selective and give us the actual history instead of this rewrite. It is giving sycophantic and desperate. You guys, listen. If Kate had done all those things, then Queen Elizabeth would not have referred to her as Duchess Doolittle and Lazy Katie. Now, we have it on good authority that the Queen sent word that Kate needs to get a job. The Queen thought it was a bad idea for Kate to sit around waiting for William to pop the question. And we've all seen those images of Kate Middleton drunk in the back of a black cab. We've all seen it. The party Kate, the Kate who uh, was found spread eagle on the roller rink, roller skating floor. Now, to be fair, I don't know if that picture was supposed to be a joke, but either way, she was spread eagle out on the floor. And then I won't even get into that one picture in the back of the taxi where it looks like she forgot all of her clothes. Some of you all have seen it. Um, okay, I'm going to just leave that there. I was going to say something like, no, but I won't say that. I won't mention curtains or drapes or anything. No, no, I just won't talk about it. But if you know, you know. Um, Here's another rewrite. They are trying to reimagine her work history, her CV, or as we like to call it, a resume. They're trying to pad a resume for what? Is she going to be unemployed suddenly? I don't think so. Kate Middleton is notoriously lazy. William is notoriously lazy. And they are still trying to convince people otherwise. When they had that cartoon, the one that was canceled, George, after the one season, they canceled it. They were depicted, as they say, art imitates life, lazy. So who are they fooling? What is the point of this? You know, the public has its opinions about Camilla, and they ain't really changed. And I'm going to show you that later on. The public has not changed the way they felt about Camilla. And they want us to forget what we know about Kate, but it ain't going to happen. She does not have a reputation for hard work. She has a reputation for excuses. She has been getting by on excuses for a long time, and nothing is going to change that. It doesn't cost her anything, and she gets sympathy. So, there you go. There you go. You know, they always talk about how the Queen felt about Harry and Meghan, or how she felt about Meghan mostly. But I'm going to tell you, the Queen had Kate's number coming and going. She knew from the start. This is why she didn't want to meet Kate. She wasn't interested in meeting her because she really did not want her in the family. She wasn't being a snob, she was being practical. Kate Middleton called lazy by the Queen, nicknames her Duchess of Doolittle. Yeah, look at there. What is Kate Middleton is disliked for being lazy. The Duchess of Cambridge is one of the most popular members of the British family, but lazy. Is the Duchess of Cambridge lazy, Katie? And is she, what is that, feuding with whoever? Uh, yes, lazy. No get up and go, no gumption whatsoever, no grit, no aspirations. I could not even tell you what it is that Kate likes besides going to Wimbledon. That is it for Kate. Aside from Wimbledon, everything else, she just shows up. Even that Christmas Carol thing means nothing to her. She doesn't actively participate. It is something that is put together for her, and she shows up. She doesn't even give a speech. She doesn't read a prayer or anything for Christmas. This is her production. This is done in her name. And aside from that time where she pretended to play the piano, what has she done? Nothing. She gets there early, which means 5 minutes before her family. And of course, they're the first ones out. Lazy. I'm only frustrated about this because of the constant comparisons. Meghan left because she didn't want to do the work. Meghan found out there was work to do, so she was like, I'm out of here. Nothing could be further from the truth. Meghan said, I want to hit the ground running. I want to roll up my sleeves and get to work. Meghan was excited to work with the Commonwealth because it's exactly what she had been wanting for a long time. People that worked with Meghan, at least a couple of them, knew that Meghan was going to transition herself into doing her TIG, right? Her future was as an entrepreneur, but also her future was philanthropy and humanitarian work. Those are the two things that she wanted. Acting was fun, but it wasn't really going to sustain her needs for life. And then along comes Harry. Hey, you know what? If we get married, you could do the same stuff here. And then even better, there's the Commonwealth. And Meghan was like, okay, I'm all for it. Meghan had been to some of the Commonwealth countries already. Kate, nothing, no aspirations whatsoever, lazy. And yet everyone circles the wagons to protect her. Now, speaking of Meghan, boy, that wife of his, in order to get people to read this article, the article, which has little to do with the Sussexes, look at the big headline. Look at the big headline. He certainly wasn't talking about Camilla. So that Robert Hardiman, whatever his name is, he spent some time with Trump in the Oval Office, as you can see, flogging that book that nobody asked for. Anyway, I'm sure that they want you to believe that this article, which is behind a paywall, is full of little barbs being thrown left, right, and center, and probably like a mountain of insults against Meghan, right? That's what one would think. But Trump barely mentioned Meghan and did not mention her by name. He never does. It's always someone else who tries to get him to go after the Sussexes. And it's always an English journalist that are the ones to do it. Why would they think the American president would be preoccupied with the Sussexes? Why? What's in it for him? So I'm just going to share that little part with you so you can see exactly what a big fat nothing burger this is. Talks turn to his fondness for his royal visitors, and he checks his schedule for the official departure the following day when King Charles and Camilla, the Queen consort, will head to Virginia and thence back over the Atlantic. It's been unbelievable, he reflects before asking after the Prince and Princess of Wales, because that's all Trump think about is Will and Kate. So apparently Trump said, William, he'll be a good king, won't he? Trump asked Robert Hardiman if William will be a good king. And the answer, he's very nice. A great guy like him. Oh, actually, that's what Trump said. Actually, Trump said that. He's very nice, a great guy like him. And then Hardiman observed that the prince's key priority is not just his role as heir to the throne, but that of ensuring the next royal generation want to. Let me turn that off. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. Where did I leave off? Okay, his priority is not just his role as the heir to the throne, but that of ensuring the next generation want to embrace their destiny. The kids are good kids, right? He nods. And then, of course, the shade. So Trump asked him, so can Harry come back? I said that any return to the royal fold is looking highly unlikely. So stick a pin in that. Trump said, can Harry make a comeback? Why did he say that? Because the only thing that Donald Trump knows about Harry or Meghan is what the tabloids say. He has absolutely no interest in them whatsoever. If he had any thoughts about them, then he wouldn't ask the question, can Harry come back? And then from there went to too many things, I guess he sighs. That wife of his, boy, what she's done to that guy. That wife of his, boy, what she's done to that guy. Oh, well, let's think about that. What has Meghan done to Harry? Harry's lost weight. He's fit, trim. He drinks only on occasion. And I believe he has given up cigarettes. He has a home and a mortgage in his name or their names. And he is not surviving, but thriving outside of that institution. There was only one woman in this world strong enough to get him out of that place, to give him a reason to leave. And a damn good reason. You could either stay here and let your brother pull all the purse strings for the rest of your life, or you could just leave. We can go. We can make a life for ourselves. And of course, without saying it, we can do what your mother wanted to do. Leave. Leave. And that's exactly what happened. And they're out of there. And they are thriving. And in spite of this hate campaign, I insist they are still the most popular royals, however you measure it. Now, whether everybody likes them, no, not at all. But if popularity is based on how many times your name is searched, your ability to influence the headlines, the fact that the Queen's funeral was about Harry and Meghan, the coronation was about Harry and Meghan, everything that the royal family does is about Harry and Meghan. So I ask again, who's the popular one? Harry and Meghan. Not those other two. And nor is it the rest of those misfits. That wife of his. Oh my God. Anyway, if we want to go there with the wives, take a look at this. That is Donald Trump trying to cop a feel. He wanted to hold hands with Melania, and she was having none of it. And that wasn't the first time. She's actually done that before the same weekend. Don't touch my hand. What did we say about touching? And yet he keeps trying it. I don't know why. I think he's trying to make those perfect historic images, but Melania is not interested. I'll show you. I'll show you. Horrible music. Okay, he's finally got the courage. Let's try that one more time. Get your hand off of me. What'd I tell you about touching me? And then, of course, she turns around like, oh, I thought I left the coffee pot on. See how she played that off like, did I leave the iron on? I think I left that iron on. Is that the somebody called me? See how she's trying to play it off? Is did you hear the phone ring? Oh, poor Donald Trump. So instead of worrying about Harry and Meghan, worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. Worry about what's not happening in your house. Melania rejects Donald Trump. Hand at King Charles State Dinner. That's a little screenshot of a headline that I've seen. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. And then, of course, the other thing that he needs to concern himself with is that people are just not taking him serious. He's a big joke. He's a big joke. This is what people think of him. Obviously, this is AI. Since he kept talking about how much he misses Queen Elizabeth, somebody decided to help him out. Oh, you missed the Queen? Let's see if we can do this for you. And look at those cankles. Look at those shankles. It's like the shin and the ankle are one. There really are no ankles. Holy Henrietta Hippo. You guys remember Henrietta Hippo from that kids show, the New Zoo Review? They had Henrietta Hippo. I see Trump channeling Henrietta Hippo. Yeah, that was a kid's character. Henrietta Hippo. And it was a show called It's the New Zoo Review coming right at you. It's the New Zoo Review coming right at you. Okay, I'm going to show you Henrietta Hippo. Henrietta Hippo. Yeah, Trump is not getting any respect these days. Very little respect. He has become a laughing stock. Okay. I submit to you Henrietta Hippo. There you go. That is a character, Henrietta Hippo. I think that most of the resemblance is from like the waist down, all the way down to the shoes. uh, and of course, the other thing that and Donald Trump learned about this himself, and he is not happy about it. We discussed that the other day. Do you remember? We discussed that the other day. Donald Trump feels slighted because of that viral video or videos of him prancing around. Let me see. This one. Yeah, he does not like that. He does not like it one bit. That one has him very, very angry. And of course, leave it to Donald Trump. He thinks it's some kind of a Democrat led conspiracy. I'll tell you exactly what he said. Poor Donald. He gets no respect around here, does he? You better walk, Donald Trump. The fake news media has begun sharing sassy images of me walking in high heels. Absolutely shameful. The Democrats are behind this. They have nothing better to do but be obsessed with me. Do they know I have closed the massive deal with Iran? A major win and the greatest the country has seen. Yeah, that's uh that's what Donald Trump said. Sassy images of me walking. I could not get over that. Sassy images of me walking in high heels. I guess someone must have said, sir, we have an issue. There's a huge problem. There are some very graphic images of you walking sassy in high heels. What do you want us to do about it? And I love the part where he kind of pat that weave. He, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to scratch. You just want to give it that little pat. Oh, I tell you, the first time I saw this, I thought I was going to scream. I thought I was going to scream. Anyway, poor Donald Trump. He ain't getting no respect these days. And of course, inviting Charles, King Charles III, to the new Oval Office, the charity shop Oval Office. Oh, that place is so garish and tasteless. I mean, it is absolutely a scandal. And of course, here's another image of Donald Trump. Again, this is what people think about him. Very little. Okay. Oh, what about this one? That's Donald Trump. Now, and look at this. It has gone from Joe Biden and every president before him in that very elegant space. And then all of a sudden, it looks like Liberace has like threw up all over the Oval Office. It is a gold gilded nightmare. And listen, I I I'm like Donald Trump. I like him, or should I say, I like him. Enjoy a little extra trimmings, right? I am. I do admire um, a very posh room, right? Especially when it's done in great taste. So we're like minded where that's concerned. But I don't like him as a person, you know that. But that is just tacky. That is just tacky. The occasional accent would have been fine. It would have been a much appreciated addition. But he has gone too far. He has gone too far. Please tell me you all noticed Kim Jong Un, Vladimir Putin, and Winnie the Pooh. I mean, Xi Jinping, or whatever his name is. Yeah. So there is the King of the United Kingdom, and then there's Burger King. Then there's Burger King. That is a mess. That is an absolute mess. It's a scandal. How did we get here? This is what the famous Oval Office looks like now. Trump has literally transformed the White House into the home of the gypsy baron from near Rostov, completely decorated with gold leaf from AliExpress. Ooh. Or perhaps Trump has decided to turn the White House into the Golden House. The Roman Emperor Nero had a golden house. And if I remember correctly, that didn't exactly end well. No, it didn't end well for Nero. Oh well, shall we? Shall we have a spot of tea? Listen, you guys. Here's the tea, also known as the truth. Here's the truth. We're gonna have a little tea. According to Celibici, King Charles and Camilla were mostly met with empty barricades in New York. Instead of getting into that whole article, I'm just going to say this from what I've experienced in New York City. There are areas that are extremely busy year round, right? Especially in the warm weather. But when William went to Manhattan and he decided to go by the firehouse made famous on 9/11, they erected barricades across the street, a caution which they are very comfortable with because anytime you have a VIP or a head of state of some sort, those barricades go up as a caution because they are very accustomed to people going to New York for the United Nations. So, any given day in Manhattan, you will hear sirens and you will see a motorcade. Big motorcades, small motorcades, motorcades. Most people in New York, they don't know who's in town and they don't care. Now, when they film movies in New York, like if you look at the recent filming of The Devil Wear Prada, right? It looks just like that. If I would have told you that that was the location for The Devil Wears Prada, Sex in the City, or any other program, you wouldn't know the difference. I could show you this same thing a month from now and say that it's anything. The point I'm making is you're always going to get pockets of people curious, especially when you block the street. It's not difficult because when people go to New York, they want to see famous people. I would not say that that's like the astronauts returning type of crowd. That is not the ticker tape parade and the heroes welcome. We've had ticker tape parades in New York before. We've had them in Chicago. That is not a ticker tape parade. Charles and Godzilla are not being welcomed as heroes. They are a curiosity. That's it. See there? One of the squaddies said, that crowd is waiting for them. More people stand around to watch movie or TV filming. They cropped the photo because the area is empty behind the small group. So I don't doubt that there are some people that have come there, especially to see Charles and Godzilla. But I don't think that's the whole story. And I don't care if it is the story, if it is or it isn't. The point is, in Manhattan, you put up barriers, people are going to stop to see. That is a tourist area. Most of lower Manhattan is full of tourists all the time. Oh, same thing. Now, I got a soundbite for you. If you don't know him, maybe the name is familiar, maybe not. Curtis Sliwa. Um, you may remember the Guardian Angels. Years ago, when there was so much crime on the subways in New York, they had volunteers that would patrol the subways using martial arts. Now, some people have said some, well, you know what, I'm not even going to talk about the controversies, but for the most part, people meant well and they, on occasion, prevented crime. I'm not a big fan of Curtis Sliwa. He's a Republican and I'm not into that. Okay.
Said to the king yesterday.
Oh, total agreement with him. Because I was in India. This was about 15 years ago, and I met with historians there. They stole all the artifacts, not just from India, all over the world. They refused to give it back. So they have the king and the queen, you know, the royalty. They're a bunch of deadbeats, slackers, the worst welfare cheats in the world. So the countries ask, you know, could we have our artifacts back? And they say no. Meantime, India, they had 2 million volunteers join the King's Army in World War II to defend the crown. 100,000 casualties, many more injured. I think the least that the royal family, the royal stiffs, could do is not stiff the Indian people, but they do it, and they don't think twice about it. And they should have met with the Epstein victims. Oh, we don't
Well, here, yeah, it's a tough time for the British royals right now.
Well, you would never known that the way they were treated. You know, it's our anniversary of our revolution, so we wouldn't be bowing down in front of the Union Jack. That should be celebrated. Nathan Hale, I have only one life to give for my country. They hung him. And now we're, standing ovation. Oh, and then what about all the liberals and progressives? No kings, no kings. Oh, the king, the queen. They're fake, phony, fraudulent fugazis. I hate the king. I hate the queen. They should do away with the royalty. And remember, that's who we broke away from in order to have this great country of us. We spend more time celebrating the king and the queen than we do our 250th anniversary. Shame on us. Shame on us.
Right. So, 250 years, this experiment called democracy, 250 years of the United States. And we got that crazy person in the White House. And I agree with Curtis Lewa on this one, that why are we celebrating all of that instead of celebrating as a nation? Of course, as a nation, we've never been further apart, but what have you. This is where we are right now. And, you know, I don't care that Charles and Camilla are here. It doesn't really change anything. It's just a distraction. What I care about is the distraction. I really do. It bolsters the image of the crown, and it bolsters the image of the presidency. Anytime there's a state visit, it is all about image building for both sides. It does nothing for people. It does nothing for the citizens. It is not going to put bread on the table. It's not going to put a chicken in the pot. It's not going to do any of those things. So if it's someone that you hope to see, you always wanted to see them in person or whatever, yeah, fine. I'm all for you having your moment. But it doesn't really help people. It's just bread and circus, as they say. Never thought I would agree with him for anything, but we are on board with each other with this one. So, Curtis Lewa of the Guardian Angels. I remember when he was a kid. And now, of course, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, who is very outspoken. I wonder what he would say. Well, you can see right there on the screen. He said, I would encourage him to return the Koh-i-Noor diamond. That's what I would say. If I had a private moment with the president.
You say hello to him and he stops to chat?
You know, if I was to speak to the king separately from that, I would probably encourage him to return the Koh-i-Noor diamond.
So you haven't thought about anything you might say if you say hello to him and he stops to chat?
You know, if I was to speak to the king separately from that, I would probably encourage him to return the Koh-i-Noor diamond.
The Koh-i-Noor diamond, one of the largest white diamonds in the world, also a diamond which belonged to one of the Maharajas in India. It was inherited by a 13-year-old boy when his father was killed or jailed or whatever they did with him, the young boy became the new Maharaja. And to add to the insult, not only did the British take it from him, then they made him go to London and present it at court. He had to hand it over to Queen Victoria. He himself, a sovereign, forced to hand over. That kid was not of age. He was not old enough to go into any type of contract. And yet he was forced to do that. And what did they do? They added the Kohinoor to the crown jewels. India wants it back. It is a national treasure. And they want it back. And the British has made it very clear that diamond ain't going nowhere. The Kohinoor diamond. Yes. Let me see here. It's 105.6 carat diamond, among the world's largest, currently part of the British crown jewels in the Tower of London, originally from the India's Golconda mine. It was acquired by the British in 1849 from Maharaja Duleep Singh and is claimed by India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. They stole it from a child. Anyway, there you have it. If you are from one of those Commonwealth countries or a former Commonwealth, if you want to see your national treasures, go to the British Museum. Go to the Tower of London. That's where you can see it. Okay. Moving on. Oh, you got to love this. You got to love this. Okay, let me get this set up for you.
On this set with royal subject Richard Quest, who began a sentence. It was a little less than 24 hours ago. We were on this set with royal subject Richard Quest, who began a sentence with the phrase, "the beauty of monarchy." And then Richard was concerned about how that line might sound to my American ear.
Do you guys hear the disdain? Do you hear the shade? Royal subject. He called him a royal subject, not a citizen, but he made clear that you are a subject. Let's do that again. I don't want you to miss the shade.
Today, by the way, more fresh.
Okay.
It was a little less than 24 hours ago. We were on this set with royal subject Richard Quest, who began a sentence with with the phrase, the beauty of monarchy. And then Richard was concerned about how that line might sound to my American ears. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten. This isn't about me and my ears, but American ears. The beauty of monarchy. How much beauty do Americans see in monarchy?
The Americans do not see very much beauty in monarchy at all. In fact, they may see some ugliness in monarchy. What are we talking about here? Okay, Americans who say a U.S. monarchy would be a good thing. Well, guess what, folks? All the percentages on your screen are less than the number 5. Only 2% of independents want a U.S. monarchy. Just 4% of Republicans want a U.S. monarchy. Just 4% of Democrats want a U.S. monarchy. To put that into some perspective, 12% of Americans believe that the U.S. faked the moon landing back in 1969. And we're talking about a third to a sixth of that percentage who say that the U.S. monarchy would, in fact, be a good thing. They believe that William Daniels played John Adams back in the film 1776 for a reason. They do not want a monarchy here in the United States of America.
Right, and then props to the independents here, outshining both Democrats and Republicans on this subject. How do Americans feel about royal news in general, which gets a lot of coverage?
A lot of coverage. And Americans are like, enough of this. Enough of this stuff. What are we talking about? Okay, we're talking about Americans on UK royal news. Look at this. Just 32% of Americans care. 63%. To quote Stephen A. Smith, we don't care. We don't care. We've had enough of the royal news. The bottom line is this. When you're talking about more than 3 in 5 Americans saying, you know what? Go to another channel. Go watch the BBC if you want some royal.
I don't believe you. Surely Americans watch these big royal events that get broadcast in full across every major network.
Yeah, okay. You don't believe me, John Berman, but it's in the numbers, baby. It's in the numbers. Look at this. Viewership of major events. Viewership in Americans. Coronation of Charles III, and this is across channels here in the United States. It was 10 million. Compare that to what I believe is one of the most American events possible. How about the Super Bowl? This past year's Super Bowl, look at this. 126 million. What is that? That's 12.6 times as many folks watching the Super Bowl, a pure American event, as opposed to the coronation of Charles III. I will note, of course, that this was early in the morning, but of course it was across all the major channels too. So I believe that this is a just comparison.
I mean, this was just on one network.
This was on just one network, and this was on what, like 5, 6, 7, 8 networks? But the Americans have had enough, and the bottom line is this. His mother had, what was it, like triple the audience for her coronation, so interest is declining as well.
I'm kidding. I can feel my phone going off now already with concerns perhaps over this segment, but I will say we won the revolution 250 years ago, and we won the viewership battle again here.
That's exactly right. 250 years, baby. Yes, Paul Giamatti as John Adams. Tremendous.
Okay.
Wow. Sometimes I am at a loss for words. I'm not sure how to follow up with something like that, so I have to find someone who does know how to follow up.
Well. Next question. See ya.
My. That was rather strong. That was a rather strong response. They were being petty AF. Do you hear me? They were being petty. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. As a matter of fact, I will drink to that. So I decided to keep on this trend of numbers, the real numbers. And you know what? It has been, at this point, it has been over 70 years since the last coronation, right? And Charles' coronation comes up. You would think that the English-speaking world, all of Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, you would think everyone would be hungry for a coronation. Now, I made no bones about it. I said I want to see the coronation. I've always wanted to see a coronation. I wanted to see one before the royal wedding to Diana and her husband. I wanted to see it afterwards. Always wanted to see one. Even though Charles has been a huge disappointment, I was not going to let that deter me. I came away from that coronation feeling rather empty. I thought it was a blatant disrespect to the church, to all churches, not just the Church of England, to any church, any place that it considers itself sacred. That Charles was able to bring his concubine and put her on a throne. That those fornicators, those hedonistic fornicators, could be crowned together in one of the most sacred places of worship in the English-speaking world, in all of the United Kingdom. And that was okay, but it wasn't okay. They were terrified up to the last minute. They had people on television, because I'm pretty sure that they did some polling and they realized that people did not want Camilla at that coronation. And so they had people, I remember some of those reporters, oh, theirs is the love affair of the ages, and they were meant to be together. And yes, there was upheaval, and Charles was only doing his duty when he married Diana. And it's unfortunate, but they were meant to be together. They simply were meant to be together. Remember all of that? And most people just were not buying it. They were afraid of some type of backlash or disruption because of how people felt about Diana. And they still want people to believe that what happened to Diana was her own fault. She played a dangerous game. She was in bed with the paparazzi and so on and so forth. When the most of us realized that she was a divorced mother who had an entire machine, an entire operation, the whole of the British tabloid after her, and whatever intelligence and police forces, who could Diana trust? Who could she trust? And it seems to me like she couldn't trust her eldest son in some type of way, but I'm not blaming him. But if Diana did make some type of arrangements or attempt to make an arrangement with the press, she should be forgiven out of sheer desperation. The palace went after her the same way that they have gone after Harry and Meghan. And what we know about both is they don't care whether you live or you die. They will knowingly create a situation that causes so much hatred and hostility that you're in danger. Do they care? No, they don't care. And then when something happens, they blame you. You only have yourself to blame. Not enough people in the world know the power of the British tabloid industry. They don't know enough about it. Most people pick up those rags or open up those websites unaware that they are being indoctrinated with so much filth. with rage and hostility on a daily basis. So whatever Diana did to try to save herself, I would never hold that against her, ever. And I feel the same way about Harry and Meghan. I don't care what mistakes they made. If anybody on Fleet Street, if anybody in the government or in that royal family could take the abuse that they have and still find themselves standing on 2 feet, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. I would like for them to flawlessly make every right move in the world while you have monsters breathing down your neck. It's not possible. So whatever the Sussexes do, I am going to overlook it and I am going to support them, because nobody is suffering worse than they are in that ridiculous family. Nobody. And especially Meghan. Whatever you say about Harry, you can triple it for Meghan. Those are awful people. And every time they go after the Sussexes, they are only hurting themselves. They are creating fatigue. They're trying to create fatigue against Harry. They are trying to create fatigue against Meghan so that the world becomes so exhausted of them that they just hide themselves away behind walls. But you know what? They're getting it worse. 10 million people, the first coronation in 70 years, and only 10 million people. I don't care what the hour was. There was no interest. There were councils across the United Kingdom that could not be bothered. They did not want to spend their money on this nonsense. Meanwhile, outside in close proximity to the White House, where Trump is giving his speech, Epstein videos are playing on a screen truck. The state visit is going as expected. So yeah, there was a truck that was outside playing videos. Playing videos. If you've never seen one of these trucks, they're very narrow. And they just, oh, actually, this one doesn't look so narrow, but yeah, some of them are very narrow. It's just like a rolling billboard. And they just ride around, especially where there's a lot of tourists and pedestrian traffic. They'll ride around and display images to let you know what's going on in this world. Look at that. And look at poor Kate behind that centerpiece. You see that? You can just barely see her. You can see that horrible raccoon makeup that she's wearing peeking around the gold fixtures. Parents of the, I'm going to just say pervert. Now, why is this photo of Kate and William and their children makes me uncomfortable? Claudia Connell wrote an article expressing the cringe-worthiness of it. And look at there. We love Kate and William because they're not Meghan and Harry. That's actually part of the article. The article said that very clearly, that we love Kate and William because they're not Harry and Meghan. As you can see, Zandy Sussex actually recommended the article because, by the way, it's behind a paywall, because of the little truth bomb that's in there. That a lot of the I'm not even going to say love, but I'm just going to say some of the acknowledgement that Will and Kate receive is only out of hostility for the black woman in the royal family. Okay? I'll just put it as plainly as that. It's not about how extraordinary Kate is. It's about the hostility against that American, the black American woman in that institution. That's where the admiration comes from. Nothing else. They don't really care for her. Even the fawning British media are calling BS on William and Kate's fake, cringy, choreographed family photo ops. I hate to say it, but it's all become a bit cringy and live, laugh, love for my liking. That's what the writer of the article said. The writer points out that presenting contrived professional pics and pretending they are organic holiday snaps is particularly dishonest. What's new? Have we forgotten the fake Mother's Day photo already? Of course, no. British media article is complete. I'm sorry, it should say is not complete without dragging Harry and Meghan's names in it for clicks. As I said with that other article, very little of that Robert Hardman article had to do with Harry and Meghan, but they had to make sure that they put Meghan's name in there just so that people would read the article. But seriously, why are their pics always lying on the grass? No new idea? Yeah, another squatty pointed that out. They're always rolling on the grass. Now, how about this one? Ukraine is mine. Mine, I tell you, mine. The difference is that Harry was invited by the Ukrainians, whereas Willie Macbeth wants to impose himself on them for his me PR stunt. William had reportedly been campaigning to make a similar visit to Ukraine ever since Russia launched its invasion in February of 2022. And this article is probably part of the campaign. They probably picked up the phone and was like, hey, you got to write this article. Why Prince Harry's surprise Ukraine war zone trip frustrated Prince William and left him fuming at palace officials. They don't want you. They don't want you. They wanted Harry. Harry has history. Ever since the Invictus games, Harry's had a connection. And especially when they filmed The Heart of Invictus, during the breakout of the war, the filming that Yuya recorded with the Invictus cameras brought a lot of attention behind the lines. Things were happening. Remember, she was arrested. And if it wasn't for her participation in the Heart of Invictus, she may not be alive today. There was a lot of pressure put on the Russians to release her. She actually had some of the video that she had taken. She was actually able to conceal that from them when she got arrested. So I'm sorry, but Harry has been in there before the war, and he's known to them. William wants to go over and try to outdo Harry by getting a photo with Zelensky. He doesn't just want to go over there. He wants a photo with Zelensky. Now, Harry has been respectful enough not to share any public photos or even acknowledge that he has met with Zelensky. But we know he has, because that first trip, it was reported that Harry went away for a few hours, away from the rest of the group, and that it seemed to be a lot of security that surrounded him. And the very likelihood of it was that Harry went to see Zelensky. But out of respect for the British government, out of respect for Charles and all of that, they have not publicly acknowledged their meeting. This is why they don't like the Sussex squad, because that is something that they don't even want people to discuss. They don't want people to think about it. And here I am blurting it out like somebody asked me the time of day. Excuse me, do you have the time? Yes, it is 10 minutes ago that Harry met with Zelensky. What time did you say? It is 2 years, 10 days since Harry met Zelensky. Thank you. You're welcome. That's what time it is. He's already met him. So this last time, Harry spent time with the president of Ukraine. Not with Zelensky, but with the president. You know, some countries have the prime minister and the president. Well, anyway, he spent time with the president. Or was she the prime minister? I forgot which one she was, but she's like the number 2 or whatever. They're jealous. They're just jealous. Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, recent trip to Australia has become the latest setback in his already estranged relationship with his brother, William. So Zandy says, no, 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 no. Australia is mine. That is her imitation of Prince William. William and Kate need to move on with their lives and stop obsessing over Harry and Meghan. But they won't do that. They will not do that. They are going to spend their time. Well, actually, I'm sure Kitty doesn't care. It's William who wants to prove that he's in charge. Inside Prince William and Kate's marriage, all they have is each other. Julie says, are they now looking for sympathy? All they have is each other. Yes, they're looking for sympathy. That is a recurring theme with Will and Kate, is the sympathetic path. They have been warned by Amanda Platel. They have been warned by Liz Jones and a few other journalists to stop with the pity parties. Stop with the pity parties. Stop with the woe is me. All of that stuff they accused the Sussexes of, that the Sussexes were trying to get attention by complaining and whinging and moaning. That is projection. It is Will and Kate, and it has always been Will and Kate that are full of excuses, whinging and moaning, constantly coming up with new reasons why they can't work, why they are not available. Well, after all, family comes first. That's what William says. It's always got to be about the family. And of course, for Kate, well, after all, she is raising a future king. Nonsense. And they get away with it. Why? They don't have a choice. The press doesn't have a choice. They have to uplift and support Will and Kate per invisible contract. Per invisible contract. It has been agreed that you can say or do whatever you want wherever the Sussexes are concerned. And if you're new to this information, I cannot make you believe it if you choose not to, but it is very true. And there are a few of the journalists on the inside that have said as much, that have been given instruction. Do what you will with Harry and Meghan. But Will and Kate are off limits because that pathetic couple is all they have. That is the future of the monarchy. Those two lazy people are the future. Combined, their diary is less than Charles. Charles is the one with cancer. Kate had the precancerous cells. William had the precancerous cell sympathy. Okay, I think I know what I need. I think I know what I need to make the case. I'm building a case right now, in case you haven't figured it out. Where is she? Where is she? Just in case I'm not making the point. Just in case.
We either love to be on one side or your family, a really polarising subject that we either love to be on one side or the other of. And I think it's really unfair for us to make decisions about what they should be doing and whether they should be coming back. They're a family. If they want them to come back and they decide to spend time with their grandma, then they should do. And the idea that you're calling it could be a distraction and Prince Charles is worried. Well, the distraction proves that beside the Queen, Harry and Meghan are the most popular royals. And so basically,
I think they're the most
you only need to look at
controversial.
today's front pages and the whole weekend to see that Harry and Meghan, if they can splash a picture of Harry and Meghan anywhere with a headline, they will do it. So I'm a producer and I have also worked for Netflix. So I will say this to you. We all say that Harry and Meghan want their privacy, but they want to be in the public eye. They just didn't want to be bullied, abused and harassed by the press. They didn't say that they were never going to come out again and do things on their own terms.
No, they are for privacy.
Shining a light on the Invictus games, heroes and veterans who should have a light shone on them.
You cannot be a royal and get rich, and Prince Andrew's tried to do that, and it's disastrous. At least they've said we divorce the royal family and we'll get rich separately.
Are you really holding them to different standards than the rest of the royal family? Because we have a whole list that we could bring up of Fergie, Andrew and all the rest of them who have tried to use their royal connections to get meetings and business deals for people outside of this country with our government. That you're holding them to completely different standards.
Let's have some calls.
People love them. They're popular.
That's very interesting, yeah.
And so it goes. That is the ridiculous photo that they were speaking of. That one right there. Contrived, nonsensical, and even strange, if I might add. The person that wrote that article also said that if I never see another one of the Welleses barefooted again, it'll be too soon. I mean, there was so much. It's kind of a lengthy article, and maybe I'll talk about it further tomorrow. Um, but I knew I had a lot to cover today, so I'll talk about it in further detail. It is behind a paywall, so you may not want to bother. But this is not the first time. This is the first time I've seen this Claudia Connell go after them. But this is a warning. This is not just an observation. This is a warning for the Welleses to do work that is more substantial and stop trying to pass off these feel-good moments as actual work. This does not speak to the majority of people in the United Kingdom. It's an insult. There was Kate looking like a glossy Bodin mum in her Breton top and pristine white jeans, surrounded by their barefoot family and 2 spaniels. It's a previously unseen photograph taken on a family break in Cornwall. There's William with the golden tan, showing off his muscular thighs. Cheeky Louie is linking. Oh, let me make this bigger. I can barely see that. There we go. Cheeky Louie is linking fingers with his mom, while Charlotte is laughing and showing off her trendy blue painted fingernails. Only George looks uncomfortable and unsmiling. A quizzical look on his face as if it asks, how much longer have we got to stay like this for? And if George was wondering that, who could blame him? While at first glance, the photo looks like a casual holiday snap, and I have no doubt the Welleses are a happy family unit, it's certainly not a spontaneous image that happened to capture an intimate moment. It was taken by Matt Porteous, a professional photographer and a favorite of the Wells family, and looks to be the result of a carefully thought out and highly stylized shoot. The family clothes are all in complementary colors, and everyone looks as though they have been told to point their legs one way and look a certain direction. In addition, the picture is taken from above. Was Porteous in a tree? He has actually photographed the family in a tree before. Did he have a stepladder with him, perhaps? Or maybe he utilized a drone to capture the shoot. Whatever the story, it certainly reveals that a great deal of time, effort, and planning went into what is actually a tightly controlled holiday pic. It's a good article. It really is a good article. Today, it feels like I've seen enough of the Wells' bare feet to last me a lifetime. I understand the royal family needs to adapt to the time and update their way of communicating with the public, but surely there's a limit. An otherwise sympathetic journalist pointing out the folly of this type of photo. Hey, Lex, thank you so much for joining us. Oh my God, this is the worst of the worst. You remember this? This is the worst of the worst. Louis doesn't know what to make of it. Noticeably, George is nowhere in sight. And Charlotte is absolutely mortified. What are you two doing? Mortified. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for them. I did something today I've never done before. I asked AI the question, what is the highest popularity of each of the family members? So with William, his highest rating was 84% back in September of 2022. Well, obviously, that's when Queen Elizabeth died, right? People needed to be reassured. They are still a bit cross with Charles and not sure how effective he would be as king at that point. And so they turned all of their hopes to William. And as you can see there, recent ratings from YouGov, William held a 77% favorability as of January 2026. But his very peak of popularity was 84%. That's in the Queen Elizabeth zone. Remember, that was after the Queen died, though. Otherwise, just like Kate, they stay around the mid 70s%. And there's Kate, 76%. That's the highest that she's ever gone. And I've said this before. Before we start celebrating Kate's achievement by getting such a high score for saying and doing very little, you have to remember that Queen Elizabeth could easily creep over 90%. That has yet to happen for Kate or for William. Let me continue. Prince Harry, highest approval rating was approximately 80 to 81%. In the UK, around the time of his engagement to Meghan in 2017-18, he was consistently popular with a 72% favorability rating as recently as November 2019, before declining significantly following his exit from royal duties and the release of his memoir, Spare. So remember, he peaked at around 81%. And I'm going to point out that he also was higher than the Queen on several occasions, Queen Elizabeth. He actually outperformed his grandmother. Now, Queen Elizabeth II reached her highest approval rating in the UK during her Platinum Jubilee. 90%. She peaked at 90%. She had an 86% support in the Ipsos poll, which I think is better than the YouGov. And in 2012, for her Diamond Jubilee, she was at about 90%. Now, after dying, even in 2026, over 3 years after her passing, she remains the most popular royal with 81%. William and Kate does not outperform a dead woman. They cannot outperform the dead. I just want you all to notice that, because they love to have all these emotional support polls, right? But yet, there are certain factors that must be taken into account, such as the hate campaign, which spelled doom for Harry's popularity in terms of favorability. However, I insist that Harry is still the most popular royal simply because more people alive today recognize Harry in comparison to any other member of that family, and that includes Charles. More people. Remember, a lot of people thought that Charles was Queen Elizabeth's husband. A lot of people don't even know who the hell he is, but they all know Prince Harry. Seriously, Harry is better known than any other member of that family. Only Queen Elizabeth was better known than Harry. Before they create their emotional support polls, CNN has already done the real one based on real numbers. 63% of Americans don't care about the royals. Only 32% of Americans do. Okay? But they're titles. I just want you guys to keep this in perspective because I know how it feels when you constantly hear these polls and ratings and such, but they deserve to be put into perspective. Now, King Charles, the highest rating he ever received, 70 to 73%, shortly after his accession. So there were so many people that lowered the bar for Charles' performance as king that by the time he became king, people realized, okay, the trains are mostly running on time. Okay, he's doing an okay job. He's saying the right things. Okay, yeah, he's okay. It's just that he's okay. And he's darn lucky to get those numbers. So he does not outperform his son. He does not outperform his daughter-in-law. And of course, he will never, ever outperform Harry. He just ain't. Do you guys like the photos I selected? Do you like the photos I selected? You're welcome. I carefully curated these photos just for this. Now, Camilla Godzilla. Queen Camilla's highest approval in major broad-based polling, such as from Ipsos and YouGov, has generally hovered around 40 to 45%. Only 40 to 45% as of 2026. While a specific highly targeted poll in May indicated 82% support for her performance, from a small group, general public polls show her favorability is frequently balanced by a similar percentage of unfavorable views. So, in other words, we don't know how the hell she got an 82, but it was under that was probably a very controlled poll, and it probably had to do with Charles' illness. It probably had to do with that when she took over some duties for him. But generally, she stays at around 40%, a little over 40%. I don't believe that 82. I really don't. See, their highly targeted poll in May. Highly targeted, meaning that they selected a group to poll, a particular type to poll, probably older people or whatever. I don't know. But it was very controlled. Notice how they went out of their way to say that it was controlled. Anyway, let me move on. Now, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. What was that thing? And I could barely see that. Okay, so it says here, yes, Meghan's approval ratings in the UK have remained consistently low and recently hit a new historic lows, often contributed in part to a sustained negative coverage by sections of the British media. Okay? It is the coverage. As early as 2026, data from YouGov suggests the unfavorable views of the Duchess of Sussex is widespread, with her popularity plunging significantly from early years as a working royal. Now, I want you guys to remember this. Meghan has been cast in the light of some sorcerer or using witchcraft or something to pull Harry away from his family. Harry is being abused and he's afraid of her. And as for Harry, poor Harry has abandoned his family. You put out articles accusing him of abandoning his duty, and then you ask people, who do they find as popular? What do you rate this person or that person? Of course, these numbers are artificially low. They have been influenced by up to 70 articles in one day. These numbers don't mean anything. Because they are targeted. The same way they used a target to bolster Camilla's numbers, don't you think they're doing the same thing to reduce the Sussex's numbers? Because they are. No matter how they say the science works, no matter what the sample is, people who know how to do these things know how to get the results they really want and make it seem as fair and impartial as possible. So, okay. I decided, and by the way, I found all of these using AI. But as you can see, they show you sources for the information. So AI is improving, but we're still not there yet. So I asked AI about Meghan's popularity before the hate campaign. It says US polling on the popularity of royals is a rare compared to Britain, but not non-existent. YouGov has conducted a number of surveys over the years, including in November of 2020. Meghan was liked by 57% and disliked by 30%, giving her the best net approval rating of plus 27. This compared to Harry at plus 40, Kate at plus 49, and William at plus 54. Charles minus 13. The couple's rift with the monarchy had not yet fully exploded into the public domain, and they had only recently signed their Netflix deal that September. That's the other thing. The repeated, they're cashing in. They're using their titles to cash in. There had, though, been public backlash after Meghan called for the change we all need and deserve on behalf of former First Lady Michelle Obama's Win All Women Vote initiative in the run up to the presidential election that toppled President Trump that month. In January of 2020, YouGov asked Americans whether they supported or opposed Harry and Meghan stepping back from the monarchy. Exactly half supported the move, 7% opposed it, and 43% answered, I don't know. Only 7% of Americans thought it was a bad idea to leave the monarchy. Let that sink in. Only 7%. And that was YouGov. They hate the Sussexes. But only 7% of Americans thought it was a bad idea. What does that tell you? That wasn't good enough for the monarchy. That wasn't good enough for the tabloid media. And so from there, it has been attack, attack, attack. Also, I do recall that Harry and Meghan's popularity increased after the Oprah interview, and it decreased the family's numbers. Their polling numbers went down, not just in the US, but in the UK. I don't know where they sample these polls from. I'm pretty sure they use what they consider to be a scientific sampling. But it's also very much in a very controlled situation that is going to be favorable to the institution. I'm sure of that. Now, Ipso, I believe, is better than, of course, the YouGov. But do not let these numbers discourage you. Because I did ask AI, very specifically, I asked AI about that. And it says, yes, Meghan's approval rating in the UK have remained consistently low and recently hit new historic lows, often attributed in part to a sustained negative coverage by sections of the British media. And that was from, let me see, Statista. That's another polling company. And let me go back to that. Take a look down there. It says, factors influencing low ratings, tabloid coverage and hate campaign. Observers describe a relentless smear campaign and intense scrutiny from British tabloids. This includes accusations that media continues to highlight negative stories 4.5 years after they left the royal family. The Megxit split. Her popularity plunged following the decision to step back from royal duties in 2020 and accelerated after the 2021 Oprah Winfrey interview. Public perception of disloyalty. Many in the British public felt she was to blame for the rift between the royal brothers and for departing from the monarchy. Now remember, every week, there is members of the tabloid media that will say that Harry changed. It's Meghan's fault. Even the term Megxit is misogynistic because it screams it's her fault. Continuous content. Critics often describe her new initiatives, such as media projects, as disconnected or misleading to the UK public, fueling further negative coverage. And this is a daily occurrence. There is only one place year on year where you see this type of coverage. Actually, not year on year, every 2 years. Every 2 years. And that is a presidential election in these United States. That is the only place where you see this type of coverage. And Meghan is not a politician. She's not running for public office. You have someone lie and say she wants to be president. She wants to be the first female president. She wants to be senator from California. Meghan is from California. There is a pecking order. Unless you are named as a successor by the person leaving office, it is still up to the governor. There is still seniority. There's a line of people waiting to be senator of any given state. And Meghan would have to jump ahead the line. She'd have to jump the queue in order to make that happen, which, by the way, the governors of any of the states can nominate, can name, should I say, a senator whenever there's a vacancy. Whenever there's a vacancy, if a senator dies or retires early, then the governor can put someone in their place, and they will serve that 6-year term or whatever's left of it. And then the very next go round, they have to be elected in their own right. So if that person vacates the office or dies or whatever, 2 years into their term, then you would serve 4 years as the senator for that state. But then the next election, you have to run for office just like any other politician. That's how that works. It doesn't work like that for Congress, but it definitely works like that for the Senate. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has alleviated or at least reduced whatever frustration you may have been feeling about this hate campaign and how it has affected the Sussexes, how every day they attempt to derail their ability to earn money or even to make friends, to maintain friendships. They are trying to do everything they can to isolate and alienate the Sussexes so nobody wants to be around them. But so far, it has not worked. They have even tried to weaponize the President of the United States, and he's not interested. The whole thing with the, what was it called? The Heritage Foundation, Harry's green card. And what did Donald Trump says? Donald Trump says, he's got Meghan. He's got enough problems. I'm not going to do anything. I didn't like that answer. But if it will stop all of that nonsense, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's just unfortunate that once again, they have used the highest level of misogyny to make it about Meghan. Instead of Harry's situation, it's Meghan's fault. And guess what, you guys? Guess what? You won't believe this. I'm done. I am done. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you all so much for the kind words that you left on the community post about my dear beloved Gigi. My as close as I've come to ever having a canine of my own. But Gigi has always been welcomed in my home anytime the family traveled. And well, anyway, we have grown close, Gigi and I, over the years. And gosh, I think she was like 17 years old. So, you know, for a dog, she lived a long time. She had a nice long life. Very sweet though. God, I'm gonna miss that dog. So sweet. Okay, good night, everyone, or good morning, whichever comes first. Oh, isn't she beautiful? Isn't she beautiful? I loved her so much. Okay, see you, family. Love you guys.